In this episode, let's talk about brand. What is brand? The best definition I've heard is by a comedian named Zay Frank back in 2006. He had a show back then before YouTube shows and stuff, before it was contemporaneous with the early podcasts. But in one of the episodes of the show, which was called The Show, he said brand is the emotional aftertaste of a series of experiences. Brand is the emotional aftertaste of a series of experiences. And that expression has stuck with me for the last 16 years. Right? It is such a powerful statement. He went on to say, that's why you can sell grandma's cookies, which has an emotional aftertaste, and not old people's cookies. I still laugh about that 16 years later. That's brand. It is an emotional aftertaste. So what is the role of brand? What is the role of that emotional aftertaste? We talk a lot about in marketing branding and brand campaigns and brand building and stuff, but what does that actually mean? I would submit that the role of brand is to create trust. Brand is a series of experiences, the emotional aftertaste and the cumulative impact. But the emotional aftertaste we're after is trust, affinity, right? Ultimately, a transaction, a sale, revenue, a customer is a statement of trust. I open up my wallet and I give you money. And I give you this money and you give me the service or this product. Ultimately, I'm trusting you with this representation of my time and effort, right? These things, right? These things, the fifth column calls them power coupons, which I think is a kind of a fun way of thinking about them. But these things are your time, your knowledge, your effort, all condensed and flattened into a two-dimensional object, mostly two-dimensional object, right? This is your effort. In a transaction, in a sale, I am essentially saying, I'm going to take this thing that is a representation of my hard work, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you, and in return, you're going to give me something that is commensurate in value with this thing, right? If I give you this thing for a loaf of bread, right? This, in the United States of America, this would be a very expensive loaf of bread. A loaf of bread's around $3 to $4, $2 if it's not very good bread. And you can get, some loaves of bread, the artisanal loaves of bread, for like $5 or $6 or $7, depending on where you live and where you shop. But $10 would be a very expensive loaf of bread. And so I'm trusting you that if I buy your artisanal, handmade, organic, non-GMO loaf of bread, that the value I receive in return, the experience of eating your bread, will be worth what I paid for it, right? I trust you. And if I eat your loaf of bread and it's no better than the $2 supermarket loaf of bread, then that trust is broken. Your product or service did not live up to what I paid for it. Now, if that loaf of bread cost $1 instead of 10, I would probably feel pretty good about it, right? Like, hey, I got the same quality as the supermarket, but it was half the cost of the supermarket. I would feel happy instead of unhappy because the transaction was commensurate, or the transaction was a better value. So all sales is ultimately about trust. A sale is an expression of trust. A brand, then, is the echo of that trust. Every experience that I have with a brand either reinforces the trust that the brand has or diminishes it, right? It reinforces or it diminishes. The gaming company Razer makes a lot of really good gear, right? This mouse that I use, really, really nice mouse. I have come to trust them for their gear. I got I don't remember what this is called now. It's like the Backbone, but it's a gaming controller for your phone. I'm not as impressed with this. Right? This is okay, but it's not the experience that I have with this. So in this sale, in this transaction, my level of trust in the brand has gone down a little, right? Series of experiences and the emotional aftertaste. The emotional aftertaste of this product is mild satisfaction. Like, okay, it does what it says it did, but it doesn't feel very good, and it's missing some features that its competitors have. Do that enough, and my trust in the brand overall will go down. So, if we want our brands to do well, we have to build trust in them. We have to create trust by, many cases, giving more value than we're taking, right? If I, as the customer, give you this flattened representation of my efforts, 10 of it, and you give me what I perceive to be $20 of value back, trust goes up. Trust goes up. Like, wow, that was a really good bargain. That was a really good deal. I feel like the exchange was in my favor. If I give you this and I get $5 of value back, trust goes down, right? And the emotional aftertaste is sour or bitter, right? The bitter aftertaste of a transaction. So how do you put this into play? The first most important thing you need to be doing is doing market research and asking people, how do you feel about our brand? What is the likelihood that you're going to purchase from us in the next 90 days? That is NPS scores, the Net Promoter Scores. Use that question all the time. That is a proxy question for trust. How much do you trust us? If you intend to purchase from us in the next 90 days, you trust us. Because otherwise you wouldn't be doing that. Asking somebody, what is your intent to recommend our brand in the next 90 days to a colleague or a friend? Again, that is actually a bigger trust question, because now we are asking, are you willing to put your own reputation on the line to recommend us? It's a big trust question. If all of your work in marketing and branding is about name recognition and stuff, and you're not thinking about whether or not you invoke trust, you might want to pause and say, do we invoke trust? What does that look like? How do we measure it that's unique to our company, its products and services? And then how can we increase the trust that we engender within someone? If you answer that question, a lot of the other things that you think about with brand, like brand awareness and stuff, will kind of take care of themselves. I mean, you'll still want to do promotion and stuff, but word of mouth is timeless. Word of mouth has been around since we could speak, right? Since words could come out of our mouths. And it is still the most powerful marketing channel there is. Word of mouth is powered by trust. Sales is powered by trust. And your brand is powered by trust. So make sure that you are behaving in a trustworthy way. That's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.